Okay, this is Randall Beach. Welcome to my free lessons. We're going to continue on with an exercise that I think is one of the most powerful exercises that you can master as a drummer at any level whatsoever. And it surprises me how many percussionists and drummers and players don't truly master this exercise. Now, before getting into this exercise, we've gone through 3 different exercises, all designed to help you understand how to apply the accent stroke or float stroke. I use those 2 terms interchangeably. So that accent stroke and multiple stroke, using those 2 motions to play basic single stroke 1 height exercises. We played 8 on a hand. We played 8th notes and 16th notes. We played an 8th note, 16th note variation in exercise number 3. Now, I want you to stop with me and just think for a minute about the basic rhythms that exist in duple meter rhythms. Duple meaning 2. Everything's divisible by 2. So in a standard 4/4 or common time measure, we have 4 quarter notes. So here on the screen, you'll see 4 quarter notes, and we count those 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the basis, kind of the bottom level of the pulse, the bottom subdivision. The next level is if we just multiply everything by 2, play twice as many notes, we have 8 notes, 8 notes in a measure. So now you see below the quarter notes, we have 8 notes, and you count those 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So for the 8th note, we use the syllable and. Now I want you to notice, this is very fundamental, but some people never stop and think about the math of this. The quarter note and the first 8th note are still perfectly aligned in time. The second 8th note falls exactly between the 2 quarter notes. Hence, we call subdivide. We're dividing it up and multiplying by 2. So quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The next subdivision is to multiply again by 2 and play 2 16th notes for every 8th note. So now within each quarter note, we have 4 notes. You can see that on the screen. You have quarter notes, 8th notes, and 16th notes. We count 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So now you see it's kind of like a rhythm pyramid is one way to look at it. Quarter notes, double it to 8th notes, double it again to 16th notes. Now it's obvious, but the fact that the quarter note and the 8th note and the quarter note, the first 8th note, and the first 16th note are perfectly aligned. The third 16th note and the second 8th note are perfectly aligned. So you can see the music on the screen vertically and see how those line up perfectly. When you perform music, that has to be in place. These all fit inside each other. If you play a measure of 16th notes, the 8th notes are contained inside those 16th notes. The quarter notes are contained inside the 16th notes. The quarter notes are contained inside the 8th notes. They overlap and fit together perfectly like a glove. That's very, very important. All right, now let's, just as a preliminary exercise, especially if these rhythms are new to you, this will be really, really good in developing your tempo control and your understanding of these rhythms as you progress. Let's do a few exercises where we're going to count with our voice and play with our hand. Let's start by playing quarter notes. We're going to use that float stroke accent style motion. And then we'll count each of the layers, quarter notes, 8th notes, and 16th notes. Let's do each one separately. So let's play quarter notes and count quarter notes. That's the simplest one, but make sure you can do this. 1, 2, ready, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play quarter notes with our hand and count 8th notes with our voice. We'll play a measure of quarter notes and then begin counting with our voice. Ready? Begin. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. All right? Simple, but that takes a little more independence and coordination to be able to play those solid quarter notes and count the eighth notes. Notice that the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 in your voice aligns perfectly with what you're playing on the drum. Now let's count 16th notes. Let's play a measure of quarter notes and then count 16th notes. Ready? Begin. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. All right, let's try that one once more. Let's go a little bit slower. If this is new to you, that may be a little bit too fast. Let's go slower. About 1 E and a. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E, 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Now, a good thing for you to do in your individual practice would be get out your metronome, pick a nice, whatever tempo is appropriate for you, and practice counting those 3 different rhythms. If you can't do that, that's a problem. If you can, then great. You know, you've got that part down. Keep going on to more and more advanced stuff. But if you can't do that, be honest with yourself. Practice it and learn how to do that. Let's reverse roles. Let's count quarter notes and play the different layers with our hands. Now, the first one is the same. Counting quarters and playing quarters. We've already done that. So let's go to the next one, which is counting quarter notes with our voice and playing eighth notes. We're going to alternate the eighth notes with our hands like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now this one is a little bit trickier for most people that have never done this. So you might have to take a little time and work it out and figure it out. Let's count to 4. Bring in our hands on eighth notes and continue counting 4 with our voice. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now, I've done that with a lot of students, and sometimes they just do it the very first time, and some people, it's like, oh, whoa, they can't quite do it. So go slower if you have to, figure that out, and work out that independence. Now we'll count quarter notes and play 16th notes. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now to do that and be able to stay with your metronome, when you don't have me to follow along with, using your metronome is real important to keep a steady beat, make sure that you're staying right on. Now, those don't have to be hard, but you need to be able to do those 3 layers of counting and playing interchangeably. Now, you can mix that up a little bit and have a little fun with it. Count 8th notes, play 16th notes, play 16th notes, count 8th notes. You can do a lot of different variations of that and test your control over those different rhythms. But the point is this, that you really have control over 8th notes and 16th notes as they relate to each other, and that you can take those 8th notes and 16th notes and relate them back to the quarter note pulse with real precision. That's so important.